We realize now that Baba had his reasons, So he would, whenever he had uh, his work, he had his must work. All right, he worked with the must. When he finished with it was all abolished. The ashram was broken, everything finished. He had the Prem ashram. He did this work with the Prem ashram boys. That was over. Prem ashram school dissolved. Boys sent back. Everything finished. Now the women Mandli who were on the hill. Now he has the women Mandli ashram. Now his work is finished with the women Mandli. So in 1949, Baba calls us all and he says, I have something to announce to you and be prepared. I have a lot of work to do. I am going to now enter my new life and I want to be free from everything, and I am going to call you all and announce something to you which is very important, and you have to all listen and do as I tell you. So next morning Baba comes and he calls us all and we all assemble in the room. And Baba said, I'm going to enter my new life from October and I intend to dispose of this whole ashram. I don't want anything to be kept here. I am going to travel with only 4 women Mandli and a few men companions, and the rest of you will do as I ask you to do. Now if you are all willing to do and be under my wings and obey me, then you will put up your hands. Otherwise you're all free to go back to your homes, marry, do what you like. You're free to do what you like. I mean, I don't bind you by anything. But if you want to obey me and be still under my orders, then those who want to do that, put up your hands. So we all put up our hands. And who could do anything else? So we put up our hands and he said, yes, Baba. And then Baba says, I'm taking only Mera, Mani, Goher and Meru with me on the new life. The rest of you, I will send you to different places, Pune, Bombay, wherever I keep you, you all have to go happily. Do as I ask you to. You all have to work, be independent, not be a burden to wherever I keep you, and just obey me. And he had given us a lot of orders, and he says, points out Kitty, Rano, Katie, Kaushid and Masi, you all will go to Bombay. I never liked Bombay from the very beginning. And I said, oh God, Bombay, of all the places. I just didn't like Bombay. I'd seen it as a child and I never liked it. I said, to stay in Bombay. So Baba says, you will stay in Bombay, you will stay with the people I keep you with, you are to work, be independent, earn, and not be a burden to anyone. And whatever I ask you to do, you have to do it happily. And you will never see me again. You will have no contact with me. You will not correspond with me or with my Mandli. You will not hear from me. You will not know where I am, where I exist, and you're not to try to contact me in any way. So I think to myself, someday, sometime, maybe we might see him. I'm just thinking like that. Baba looks and says, 100% you have to believe that you're not. And I say, yes, Baba, you're not going to see me ever again. So believe that and be assured I'm not coming again. Yes, Baba. And you have to go happily. I want you to go and do these things not because I want you to, but because you want to obey me. Yes, Baba. So Baba put us in such a shock of mind, nobody had time to think. He didn't give us time to think. We had to pack up everything in Meraza. Everything was to be sold off, given away to Baba, whoever Baba wanted to give. So the whole of Meraza was just emptied out. And then Baba would in the evening come up and say, we will now play dumb charades. and he would occupy us so much that we had no time to think what we were in a state of shock, all of us, to be away from Baba. We are leaving Mehrabad for good. We'll never see him again. We are going to Bombay. And with Baba, all our lives, we had been cloistered, kept so close inside. We never saw the men monthly ever. We never had contact with the outside world. We never had anything to do with the outside world. Baba did everything for us. We never handled money. Baba just planned and he asked us to get ready. We boarded the train, we boarded the bus, we went here, we went there. We never thought for ourselves. We never had anything. Now we are on our own. We have to be out in the world. We have to face everything. We have to be out in the world with people. We have to spend money. We have to know how to do. We have to work. Where will we work? What will we do? We have to live with other people. We have to adjust our lives completely. He never gave us time to think of anything. So we kept busy packing and taking out this, doing this and all that. And then 15th October, Baba comes up on the hill. Yeah, about the dumb charades I want to tell you. So in the evenings we would play dumb charades with him. So one day, Baba, Mera and myself, we are doing book titles. And Baba says, we'll do Gone with the Wind. And so we three of us go and do our part. And they guessed it, Gone with the Wind. And it was so appropriate, Gone with the Wind. Everything's gone, finished with the wind. And we thought, my God, this Baba chose the right, appropriate title. And absolutely everything was gone with the wind with us. And on the 15th October, Baba comes and on the hill and he says, I feel so happy today. Because everything, like whole Mehrabad was all emptied out. Everything had gone, finished. And he says, everything is gone. I feel free today. Nothing belongs to me. And I have nothing, I have no possessions. I'm a free person today. And I feel very happy. So Baba then comes down the hill with us. And Meji's car and Nariman's cars are there. And he puts us all in our cars and we see Baba standing there and he's waving out to us. And we say a final goodbye to Baba on the 15th of October 1949. And we go to Bombay. We reach Bombay and I still can't believe we are in Bombay. I get down there, we are at Arnawaz's place and Nariman's. Say, Arnavaz, are we really in Bombay? Is this all a dream or is it true? Are we really here? And it was such a shock, we just couldn't be over it. And I said, well, it does seem real. Baba has meant it and we are here in Bombay. So Naja and I, we live with Arnavaz and Narima and those four stayed with Meji. He had a bigger house and there were bigger rooms and so they all four stayed there. We have to try and find jobs. And while Baba was telling us this, he looked at me and he said, you will be working, you will get a good job. So this was a sign for flat nose meat, the Chinese. And I thought, my God, in Bombay, as far as I know, there are only Chinese restaurants. And I've been cooking there all my life. And now I'm going to cook for the Chinese again. I said, Baba, I'm going to cook for the Chinese also now? And he says, no, you'll get a good job. Then we again went like this, he said, good job, like this, that means typing. And I said, yes, Baba. And I was watching. And I said, Baba's planned it, why should I ask him? But I thought this was the Chinese, and I said, Baba, I'm going to cook for the Chinese. And I don't like the Chinese. So Kitty had taught us shorthand, Pitman shorthand while we were moving on our blue bus trip. So Mani and I learned shorthand. Whenever we found time, I would cook in the kitchen and I would put all my things, A on the line is this and D on the line is stroke on this. And I would write it and paste it on the wall and learn my Pitman's shorthand, all like that, and be prepared for Kitty's homework. And the Mani would do also. So we knew our shorthand very well, and then Mani could always type, but I never knew typing, so I asked Baba when there was one typewriter at Mirabai. I said, Baba, could I learn a little typing? So Kitty gave me her Pitman's touch type, and I would sit at night with a lantern and do my fingering. And I got my fingering a little speed, not much. And then when Baba says, you have to do this, I go to Bombay, and I haven't got much speed to be working as a secretary in anybody's office, and I have no experience. Who's going to appoint me? So Mr. Kerawala was good enough to say, okay, Katie is appointed. But he never understood that I came from an ashram. I'd never seen an office in my life. I'd never worked in an office. I'd never seen the big typewriters in my life. I'd never seen a carbon paper. I never knew what filing was, what it was. And he just thinks that I'm just a trained secretary or something, and he to do this, do that. And I don't know anything, And there's nobody in the office to guide me, help me. And I'm so frustrated, lunch hour, I just sit and cry there and say, Baba, where have you got me into? Now you've got to help me. You have to get me. You put me here. Now you've got to work and you've got to help me. I don't know anything, Baba. I said, I've never worked in an office before. And this man was so strict, I couldn't go out and ask anybody or ask any of the girls there outside. They were sitting in the pool outside. I couldn't go leave my room. He said, don't leave this room, don't let anybody touch my papers, don't let anybody approach my table. And I had to be like a guard there. And of course, then he gave me a big file like this to copy out all from there. And I used to sit and type. At home I'd go and type. I'd come again to the office early and type. Everybody would leave the office and I'd be still typing. One day that secretary of that office comes and said, Miss Irani, don't you ever rest? I said, I'll finish this file, And I would sit and type away. So 3 months I worked there. 3 months I worked. And the man was very hard to please. He was never satisfied. But towards the end, he appreciated my work and he really liked my work. And it was a central government job, so the ministers from the union government would come and we had board meetings, we had the agenda and this and that. So I was kept pretty busy, and I got into the way of office life, and I knew now how to handle things. And they were being transferred now. They had to go to Nagpur again, and they said, Miss Irani, we are shifting to Nagpur, we would like you to join us there. And Baba's orders were not to leave Bombay ever, never, not to step out of Bombay till he told us or till he sent word. So we are stuck in Bombay, and I couldn't leave. So I said, I'm sorry, I cannot go out of Bombay. I can't come with you. So now I'm without a job again. But I'm not idle. I look around, what can I do? I must do something. So I watched some Swedish masseur who was giving massage and all that. So I would watch him giving patients massage. So I studied and I picked up a little massage work. And so I got a job as a masseur, and I earned a little on that too. But then I thought, Baba doesn't want me to do this work. And that lady left for Pakistan and she gone, so again I'm without a job. So meanwhile, I'm still looking for jobs. I look up the advertisements and answer all these, and there's no reply. Some people call me, then they say, no, you're too young, we want somebody more mature, more experienced. So okay, I go back. And I would keep on trying. Every day I would climb up steps, go down, look for jobs, ask my friends, ask my relatives over there, if you find a good job, please let me know. I have to work in the office. Meanwhile, Madame Montessori's representative who comes to Bombay, Mr. Yoston, and he's giving a crash Montessori course in Bombay for 6 months or something. And I'm free now, so I said, why not learn Montessori? Why not? Anything learned is never wasted. Everything, any knowledge is good knowledge. So why not do this while I still have time and I don't have a job? If I find a job, of course I'll leave it. So I take up the Montessori course and I do the whole course there and I get my diploma in it. And we think of setting up a Montessori school, but that requires money. I'm not supposed to spend money, I have to earn money. So that requires thousands. Buying this all small equipment for this. We take in 2 years and 1.5-year-old children, 2-year-old and onwards. So they need small furniture like this, everything small to their size. The Montessori equipment is so expensive. You find a place, it's so expensive. I said, forget about it. Baba's not told me to do Montessori. I better not get involved. I have to still look out for a secretarial job. So I'm still, but I go to my friends, those who had studied with me, who had taken the same Montessori course. They had opened schools, so I would visit them and go and help them, and take care of the children and mind them and guide them and everything and instruct them and all that. Now, while I'm doing my Montessori course, there is one Parsi lady. She's half Parsi and half Japanese. Her father is a Parsi married to a Japanese mother. And so she could speak fluent Japanese, write Japanese. She was born in Japan. And cute little thing. She looked half Japanese, half Parsi, very sweet. And we used to sit together at the same desk. And she would watch me taking down my notes in shorthand, typing my reports, and doing all the Montessori work. We had a lot of paperwork to do. And she would observe all my work, and she would say how nice and tidy and clean I was. And now the Japanese representative, it was known as the Japanese Government Overseas Trade Agency, because still the peace treaty hadn't been signed, and the Japanese came in to start trade between India and Japan again. So they came as the trade agency. And so one day I was appointed somewhere temporary, as a steno somewhere. So my friend rings up and says, Mary, her name was Mary, she says, Katie, I found a wonderful job for you. What are you doing? I said, I'm working on a temporary basis. She said, forget about it, just come and see me, and I'm taking you to these people, and you'll get a good job. So I go and see her, and we meet at this place, and I see all these Japanese people there. So, Japanese, I don't like Japanese, I said, Japan nearly bombed India, came as far as Calcutta, and they were driven back. But I never liked the Japanese, and then we read about all the horror stories and what tortures they did to the prisoners of war and all that. Oh my God, no, I don't like the Japanese at all. So I have to work with the Japanese, my dear. So I tell Mary, how are they, Mary? Are they all right? She says, Katie, don't worry, they're nice people, they're government people, they can't do anything to you. So don't worry, Katie, they're nice people. I said, I don't like the Japanese, She said, oh, Katie, they're nice people, don't worry. And I'll do all the talking, don't do any talking. Besides, these people couldn't speak fluent English, So it was very difficult for me to follow them, what they were saying. So Mary talked with them in Japanese, and they settled everything. And my consul general finally, after a long wait, appointed me. And that's how I got into the Japanese, with the Japanese. After many years I realized, so this is what Baba had said, not Chinese, Japanese. And Baba took such interest in my office. He was so interested, he would every time, after, of course when Baba returned in the fiery new life and all that, and he saw us and called us, and he said every time I got leave, I have to come to Merazad and spend it with them and visit him. He would ask after my bosses, he would say, who's your new boss now? And every 2 years, we then became the diplomatic office, we became the consulate general, because the peace treaty was signed and diplomatic status was granted to all. So I'm now working in a Japanese consulate general. And my boss has been appointed the consul general, and Baba was very interested. He wanted to know everything, what were the bosses living like, and how they were, and what they had to do. Was I happy in the office? And of course, I would tell Baba everything, and I would mimic all how the Japanese spoke and how they talked, and I first couldn't understand them, and Baba would really laugh too, and Mera would enjoy it. So I would tell them all my funny episodes in the office. Baba took a great interest. And so we would have Japanese cultural delegations, and we attended all these no dances, and kabuki, and the tea ceremony, and the ikebanas. And for 27 years, I had enough. 27 years, yeah. I had enough of the Japanese, and I worked for the Japanese, and I was tired. I was really exhausted. I had too much work. We had big parties. We entertained so lavishly. The Japanese consulate parties were the best in Bombay, and everybody attended, you know. And we had big crowds, and I had to be there in the things, introducing my new consul generals. The old ones would leave, and protocol demands, you know, when they leave, there's so much to be done. When a new one comes, there's so much to be done. It was just enough. Every 2 years I had a new boss, and I felt I was entering a new office. Each one had a new style of working. Each one changed the whole office. Each one did. So I felt I was entering a new office every time. So I had to remember, this one wants his letters the American style. This one wants his letters the English style. And so you have to be very careful. Not one single mistake in the typing, you know, sometimes. And I had the electric typewriter. Sometimes when I did fast, one finger would just cross and a little question mark or a little full point somewhere would come just unexpectedly, and I'd rub it out, you know, and try to erase it. He'd have such a keen eye. He said, "Irani sir, I think you'll have to retype this letter." I said, "Oh God." So he was so particular, you know, never sent out any letters which were spoiled or marked or anything. Everything had to look just so, you know. And I really worked hard for them, and they appreciate it. So after 20 years of working in the consulate, the Japanese government invites you to Japan for a free trip. Yeah, they give you a holiday in Japan, 10 days. So I had to just prepare my passport, pack up my bag, and they send the ticket, and I'm off to Japan. And I don't know the language yet, and I can't speak, I can't read Japanese, and I'm on my own to Japan. So I reach there, and I think, gosh, I hope somebody comes. I reach there midnight, and I see my vice consul, my former vice consul in the office. He's at the airport, and he receives me, and they treat me very well. They call me for the Expo 70. So, and Expo that was
in the set of the exposition
that was laid out in Osaka,
yeah.
and they had cut up the whole forest to set up this huge city, you know, with so many pavilions. All these countries represented the huge pavilions, you know, and I managed to see 7 or 8 pavilions in one day. From morning till evening, I was walking from pavilion to pavilion. I was given the VIP pin, and they could smuggle me in from the back door. And there were queues waiting. People couldn't see one pavilion per day, but I would be just smuggled in from the back, and I was shown 7 to 8 important big pavilions, you know, that made big cities, like big countries like Russia and China and Japan and India and Czechoslovakia and all these. I saw the main, and it was beautiful, America and all that. Then, of course, Baba had passed away. Baba dropped his body. So, and I said, Baba, you would have been so happy. Of course, you know about it. I'm going to Japan. It was in 1970, and Baba had dropped his body in 69. So, and I wrote to Mera and all, and I said, I'm going to Japan now. And they were all happy, and they said, have a nice trip and all that.